Okay, folks, welcome back to another video. This time we are doing a cost of living video for Halifax for 2024. Now we're pulling the data from Numbeo, which is a good kind of even keel. We're also going to be taking data from Toronto and Montreal. Now Montreal is a part of Quebec, the province of Quebec. They have different tax regulations, all that stuff. Ontario does as well. But Ontario tends to be a bit more similar to Nova Scotia and thus Halifax as well. So we're going to go through a couple different things at the start. We've got kind of our going out, restaurants, stuff like that. Second, we've got our marketplace, which is like the grocery store. Third, we've got kind of like our transportation and monthly living expenses. And then we've got our rents at the end. Now, for people looking for more in-depth real estate stuff, obviously once a month we come out with a pretty in-depth real estate pricing video. So how we'll do this, I'll list off what I'm talking about. I'll give you 3 different price points and I'll list where those are from. So up first, we're going to talk about the kind of the restaurants and stuff. So this is a meal at an inexpensive restaurant in Halifax. This is going to run you about $23. Toronto 24, Montreal 25, so very similar across the board. And one thing to kind of keep in mind is the tipping side of things as well as the taxes. Here in Halifax, you get a 15% tax on top of everything, and usually you're going to be paying a tip as well. It varies. It's gotten a little out of control, in my opinion, the tipping culture here. But if you go to a restaurant or something, usually it's 15, 18, 20% tip, depending on what kind of service you received and how you felt about the service. But tipping is expected. A McDonald's meal, so this is just an average McDonald's meal, we've got $13 in Halifax, 15 in Toronto, 15 in Montreal. You won't be necessarily tipping on McDonald's meals or fast food. However, at certain places, they do tip. Don't know why they started doing this. Where they're actually asking for a tip before you are served your food seems a little odd to me. But that's something to just kind of keep aware of, where if, you go to Subway or Pita Pit or something like that, they're asking for the tip. Actually, Subway's after, but there's a couple places where they'll ask for the tip before they actually give you your food, which is very odd to me. Anyways, something to be aware of. Domestic beer on tap, you've got Halifax, $7.57. Toronto $8.50 and Montreal $8. So you could that's overall. You can find cheaper beer, cheaper drinks. You can find more expensive beer, more expensive drinks. It'll depend on kind of where you go, where your watering hole is. Cappuccino, Halifax, you got $5. Toronto $5.26. Montreal $5 as well. Again, on the cheaper side of things, if you're looking for just an average coffee, that might run you $2.50, maybe $3. At a Tim Hortons or a McDonald's, obviously it's going to be cheaper, but in a coffee shop, it may be a little bit more expensive. And again, usually they're expecting tip on that as well. So it depends on what you want to pay. Okay, moving on to the marketplace. So first we've got the cost of bread. Now this is $3.62 in Halifax, $3.79 in Toronto, and $4.37 in Montreal. So again, different taxation rules, different regulations, different interprovincial trade stuff that I don't know too much about. But milk for 1 liter, we're looking at $2.95 in Halifax, $4.10 in Toronto, and $2.92 in Montreal. So a little bit more expensive for milk. A lot of dairy is made out in the Atlantic provinces, so I don't know if that plays a factor in that. Okay, rice, 1 kilogram. We're looking at $6.46 in Halifax, $4.69 in Toronto, $4.78 in Montreal. So a little bit cheaper, quite a bit cheaper actually, in provinces outside of Nova Scotia. Eggs for a dozen, we've got $5.12 in Halifax, $4.69 in Toronto, $4.55 in Montreal. Now again, when I talk about this stuff, there are different options, right? You can go to the local farmer's market. Usually that's going to be a little bit higher priced, but you're going to get organic stuff and farm to table, as they say. Another popular option here in Halifax is the Gateway Meat Market, which is located over in Cole Harbour. That can have some great prices. It just kind of depends on where you're shopping, right? Walmart tends to be pretty cheap. Costco, you can get some deals there as well. And then the other 2 big grocery stores are what's called Sobeys. and Superstore. Chicken, 1 kilogram. We're looking at, so this is fillets. We're looking at $17.68 in Halifax, $16.95 in Toronto, $17.62 in Montreal. 1 head of lettuce, we're looking at $3.37 in Halifax, $3.10 in Toronto, and $3.32 in Montreal. A mid-range wine in Halifax at the store, we're looking at about $20. You can get wine for $13, a bottle of wine, cheap wine. Toronto, we're looking at $19. In Montreal, we're looking at $18, both for mid-range wine. And when you're buying domestic beer by the bottle, 0.5 liters in Halifax at the store, $5.05. Toronto, $3.39. Montreal, $4.45. We're going to have different taxation on different things, right? Free healthcare and all that, but we're also a bit of a poor province out here. So those things that are not necessarily needs, but wants, they'll tend to be taxed a little bit higher than you might see in a wealthier province or something like that. A 20-pack of cigarettes. Numbeo used Marlboro for this. I'm not sure why. I don't think I've ever seen somebody smoking Marlboros out here, but $20 for a pack of that, $20 in Toronto, and $15 in Montreal. So a little cheaper to get your smokes in Montreal. What some people do is they'll go to the Reserve or something like that if they're looking for cheaper cigarettes, or just loose tobacco. Okay, moving on to transportation. So at Halifax, we got the bus ticket or ferry ticket, $2.75. Toronto, we got $3.35. This is per ride, and I mean you can get transfers as well, but per ride. So maybe 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, and then $3.75 in Montreal. Again, we're pulling this data from Numbeo. So I'm not Rain Man. I have no idea what the price points are in these other provinces, but it's good to know. Monthly pass for transportation, we've got $82.50 in Halifax. And I think there's senior and student discounts. High schoolers get it for free, I believe. $156 in Toronto, $97 in Montreal. Can't speak to those rules in either one of those cities, but I'm sure they've got similar programs there. Okay, for utilities, this is electric, heat, cooling, water, garbage removal for like an 85 square meter apartment. Super base, we've got $270.75 in Halifax, $192.55 in Toronto, and $106 in Montreal. So this is where things start to get a little bit cheaper in Montreal, is your actual living costs. Obviously, your utilities are much cheaper. As we get into phones and internet, it's going to be a lot cheaper. And rents are significantly cheaper as well. Monthly phone plan plus 10 gigs of data in Halifax, we're looking at $81.15. You can get cheaper stuff. There's a couple Public Mobile, I think they're much cheaper. There's different options, right? This is Numbeo just taking kind of the middle ground. I'm sure in Toronto it's the same thing though, but $65.91 in Toronto and $54.19 in Montreal. So again, pretty significant there when comparing Halifax to the other two cities. Internet, I know for a fact you can get internet quite a bit cheaper than this, but this is like with Bell or Eastlink when you keep going after your promotions run off. $105 in Halifax, $74.94 in Toronto, $60.89 in Montreal. Quickly, the movie tickets as well in each province. We got 14 in Halifax, 18 in Toronto, 15 in Montreal. Finally, we're moving on to the rents. So this is just kind of to sum it all up here. Now, a 1-bedroom apartment in the city center of all three of these cities. In Halifax, you're looking at $19.90. Toronto, you're looking at $25.63. And in Montreal, you're looking at $16.82. 1-bedroom outside of the city. So in Halifax is a big place like, Cole Harbour, Spryfield, areas that are a little bit outside of the core. $16.83 in Halifax, outside Halifax. $22.46 Toronto, and $13.19 in Montreal. Finally, we've got 2 more here. 3-bedroom apartment inside the city center. We're looking at $32.42. So this is important to note for students, things like that. A lot of our universities obviously are kind of in the city center. In Toronto, you're looking at $4,385, so $4,385. And in Montreal, you're looking at $2,690. So not that much different, but well, I guess $500. And then a 3-bedroom outside of the city center. Finally, we've got $2,681. Toronto, you've got $3,579, significantly more. That's almost $1,000 more. And in Montreal, you've got $2,112. So again, $500 difference between Montreal and Halifax. So overall, those are kind of the price points we're looking at. Once again, I'm Tom Moore. Here at Living in Halifax, we try to help folks like yourself move between wherever you may be into Halifax. We specialize in people move outside of the province, outside of the country. So if you are interested in organizing meeting, we always put the links to the Zoom meeting option below, or feel free to text me, call me, or email me. I'll have all my information in the description below. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I'm Matt. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.